floating trade, floating trade, floating trade, floating trade, floating vote, floating vote, floating vote, floating vote, floating voter, floating voter, floating voter, floating voter, floating wharf, floating wharf, floating wharf, floating wharf, anarchy, 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 floating zone, floating zone, floating zone, floating zone, flockos, 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 flocculate, 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 flocculation, 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 floccule, 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 flocculent, 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 flocculus, 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 flockbed, 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 flock of sheep, flock of sheep, flock of sheep, flock of sheep, anastigmatic, 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 flocking, 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 flocky, 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 flogging, 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 flood control, flood control, flood control, flood control, floodam, 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 flood damage, flood damage, flood damage, flood damage, anastomosis, 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 flood of tears, flood of tears, flood of tears, flood of tears, floodplain, 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 flood protection, flood protection, flood protection, flood protection, flood wall, flood wall, flood wall, flood wall, flooding, 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 annotate, 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 floor area, floor area, floor area, floor area, floor beam, floor beam, floor beam, floor beam, floorboard, 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 floor carpet, floor carpet, floor carpet, floor carpet, floor cloth, floor cloth, floor cloth, floor cloth, floor covering, floor covering, floor covering, floor covering, floor lamp, floor lamp, floor lamp, floor lamp, floor load, floor load, floor load, floor load, floor plan, floor plan, floor plan, floor plan, anathema, 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 floor plate, floor plate, floor plate, floor plate, floor polish, floor polish, floor polish, floor polish, floor price, floor price, floor price, floor price, floor show, floor show, floor show, floor show, floor tile, floor tile, floor tile, floor tile, floor timber, floor timber, floor timber, floor timber, floor wipe the floor with, 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 flooring, 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 floozy, 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 anathematize, 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 floozy, 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 floppers, 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 floppy disk, floppy disk, floppy disk, floppy disk, floppy, 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 flora and fauna, flora and fauna, flora and fauna, flora and fauna, flora, 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 fluorescence, 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 fluorescent, 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 Anatolia News Agency, Anatolia News Agency, Anatolia News Agency, Anatolia News Agency, floret, 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 floriated, 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 floriculture, 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 floriferous, 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 florist, 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 Anatolia, 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 flotille, 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 flotilla, 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 flower beetle, flower beetle, flower beetle, flower beetle, flour mill, flour mill, flour mill, flour mill, flower moth, flower moth, flower moth, flower moth, flower, 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 Anatolian, 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 flowery, 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 flowchart, 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 flow control, flow control, flow control, flow control, flow diagram, flow diagram, flow diagram, flow diagram, flow direction, flow direction, flow direction, flow direction, flow line, flow line, flow line, flow line, flow meter, flow meter, flow meter, flow meter, flow rate, flow rate, flow rate, flow rate, flower bed, flower bed, flower bed, flower bed, flower pot, flower pot, flower pot, flower pot, flower shop, flower shop, flower shop, flower shop, flower bearing, flower bearing, flower bearing, flower bearing, flower bed, flower bed, flower bed, flower bed, flowered, 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 floweriness, 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 flowering, 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 about face, about face, about face, about face, anatomist, 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 flowerless, 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 flowerpot, 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 flowers of sulfur, flowers of sulfur, flowers of sulfur, flowers of sulfur, flowery, 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 flowing, 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 flu bug, flu bug, flu bug, flu bug, flu, 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 flub, 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 flubdub, 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 fluctuating exchange rate, fluctuating exchange rate, fluctuating exchange rate, fluctuating exchange rate, fluctuating, 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 flue gas, flue gas, flue gas, flue gas, flu, 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 fluency, 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 fluent, 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 fluently, 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 anatomy, 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 fluid logic, fluid logic, fluid logic, fluid logic, fluid pressure, fluid pressure, fluid pressure, fluid pressure, fluid state, fluid state, fluid state, fluid state, fluid, 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 fluidux, 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 fluidity, 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 ancestor, 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 flung, 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 flunky, 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 fluorescene, 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 fluorescent brightening, fluorescent brightening, fluorescent brightening, fluorescent brightening, ancestral, 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 fluorescent, 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 fluoric, 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 fluoridation, 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 fluoride, 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 fluoride,